Good luck to all of you.
To all of us. Good morning. Bonjour.
Hello, good morning.
How are you today?
Morning.
Good morning. Bonjour.
Bonjour, bonjour, Kalimera.
Salam alaikum.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Buongiorno.
Good morning.
Buenos días.
Good morning.
Recording in progress.
Egunon in Euskadi.
Morning, everyone. Hi.
Egunon deneri. Buenos días. Good morning.
Buenos días. ¿Cómo está usted, amiga?
Estamos de maravilla.
Amiga.
Un día bellísimo. Muy bonito día.
Sounds great.
Springtime is there, at least in Torino. It's a very nice day here. Sunshine.
Mario Vittoria, buongiorno.
Ciao. How are you?
Very
Hello,
good.
everyone.
How is the weather in Tbilisi?
Very cold, actually. Unexpectedly very cold. We don't have usually this kind of weather, but something happened to the world. I don't know.
Many things happening. Okay, we have 55 people registered. So maybe with the permission of the chair, Pambos, we wait a couple of minutes and then we start. We'll see if some other people will join. You are most welcome to write in the chat where you are reaching us from. And also the name of your institution, the web link to your institution. This webinar is also about networking and letting people know about what you are doing. So please make the use of the chat that is also useful for your needs. And we start in a couple of minutes. Good. So we have our friends from Georgia, Moldova, Tunisia, Morocco will join us by video. Azerbaijan, I don't see Azizaga, maybe he's joining us. Angela is there. Our speakers, I think, are all there. So we will start in a couple of minutes. Thank you, Angela, that you started sharing your website. Angela will share with us in a few minutes the beautiful things they are doing in the incubator she's working for. Thank you, Nina, for sharing the link to the college, Modus College in Tbilisi, Georgia. Just for those who are new to our project, we are working with 5 centers of vocational excellence in Georgia, Moldova, Tunisia, Morocco, and Azerbaijan. And these 5 centers would like to become more entrepreneurial across all their activities and the approaches to their work, meaning pedagogy, but also the links with the ecosystem and in setting up their strategies. So they play an important role in our project, and they are here also to share what they are already doing. Good morning, Anne. How is life in Paris?
It's good. I had my morning croissant before the meeting, so I'm ready and raring to go. I'm really looking forward to this. You know, Maria Victoria, this is the 4th one I've listened into, and the conversations have always been really rich.
Thank you, Anne, for being with us. And today you will also be among the speakers. So OECD will share with us what OECD is doing to promote entrepreneurship as a key competence and entrepreneurial learning. Thank you, Anne, for being with us. Okay, very good. Pambos, what do you think? I think we could start.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning, dear colleagues. Greetings from Cyprus. My name is Charalambos Brasidas, and I'm the Executive Director at CARTED, and also Professor of Learning Innovations and Policy at the University of Nicosia. Welcome to the fourth webinar of the Partnership of Entrepreneurial Centers of Vocational Excellence, an ETF initiative that aims to promote entrepreneurship across COVES. It's really an exciting session today because we left it the last. We know it's a dear topic to many organizations and COVES, the business incubation process, supporting startups, and overall how we promote entrepreneurship and create value in our society. The partnership focuses on developing entrepreneurship and promotes knowledge sharing and peer learning. And today we have an exciting collection of speakers who will share with us their experiences in working with incubators and startups and creating value. The partnership has members from Tunisia, Georgia, Moldova, Morocco, and Azerbaijan. And we're looking forward to the conversations. And with this brief introduction, let me pass the floor to Maria Vittoria for our first panel, which focuses on issues and good practices to support business startups. Maria Vittoria, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Pambos. Good morning again. My name is Maria Vittoria. I work at the ETF leading this partnership, which indeed would like to contribute to the entrepreneurship community by focusing on one side, the entrepreneurial mindset. So we will talk about this today, but also support to business startups. So today we will have two panels, and in the two panels we will have at the same time some guest speakers, and thank you very much for being with us to all the speakers, and also the representatives of the 5 vocational centers of vocational excellence that Pambos just mentioned. For all the other participants, this webinar is meant to be interactive. So at the end of each panel, we will take questions that you can put either in the chat or by raising your hand. So keep your questions, and we will be very glad to share with all of us around the table today. Okay, so let's start with the, you find the final agenda of the today meeting, on which we work until the last minute in order to have more speakers as possible. We start with the first panel, and I would like to make the first round of questions by asking each speaker to introduce himself or herself. So I would go by the law, ladies first, and I would like to give the floor first to Pili to introduce yourself and briefly, couple of minutes, and your institution. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Maria Victoria. Good morning for all of you. It's lovely to see so many of you here today. I am Pili Alonso. I'm the head of Applied Innovation in Strategic Settings in Technica. Technica is the Basque-based research center that works in the framework of the Basque Vice Ministry of Education. The challenge for Technica is to be the European point of reference in applying advanced practices to transfer knowledge to the business network through vocational training centers. It is a network which connects research innovation technicians at Technica with those embedded centers, I mean teachers and learners. We talk about managing team in areas such as learning and high performance, technological innovation and intelligent systems, bioscience and sustainability, or complexity management, that with the knowledge we obtain in them, it is possible to generate processes of applying innovation in strategic settings. As the example, today's topic, generate procedures or a step for establishing a business startups. I'm pleased to have the opportunity to share with you all the exciting work we have been doing during the years in entrepreneurship and business startup. I hope to give you a very good idea of how we work and what resources and processes we define within the vocational training network to promote both entrepreneurial culture and entrepreneurship. I'm talking of creation of business startup.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pili. So already some very triggering words like innovation, networks, challenge. We will hear very soon from you. Second lady, Cesara, please, from Chisinau, Moldova.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cezara Fetescu. I am a Deputy Director of Center of Excellence in Economy and Finance from Moldavia. Today, I will speak about the role of our institution in promoting and sustaining the business startups. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you, Cesara.
Very much.
We move to the gentleman, and I will start by asking Mr. Muzzarelli to introduce himself. Marco, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Maria Vittoria. I'm so pleased to be with you, also for me, and thank you for the invitation to explain something that we do in Engim around the subject of startups, but particular startups, because we call it training enterprise. This is a literal translation. My name is Marco. I'm absolutely from Italy. I'm now at this moment I'm in Turin, but I am the national director of Engim, that is a vocational training organization around Italy. So we have different branches in different regions in Italy, in mostly sorry, in the northern part or in the center of Italy. Engim is a private organization, is a foundation that is managed by people, so it's private but manage a public fund, so normally by regions or by European Social Fund. Engim is present in different branches, as I said before, in Italy, but is also present in different regions and countries around the world, because we are connected with a religious congregation that funded in the past our organization. So we have also places in Guinea-Bissau or Ecuador, Colombia, India, and so on, because we are also an NGO. Our activities, my activities, I'm the national director, but I'm responsible for the research and development programs. So the idea of the training enterprise is around my activities, and I will show you something about this. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, Marco. So it is possible to be a center of vocational excellence of private origin, but working with public funds and being an NGO. So that's already something interesting. I would like now to give the floor to Tunisia, our Center of Vocational Excellence in Bizerte, to introduce yourself. Colleagues, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Murad Mhalla. I work as the Springboard to Entrepreneurship Space Manager. And today I will speak about how CFA Bizerte support learners to the startup. I'm happy about be part of this meeting, and thank you. Here is my colleague Anis.
So good morning, everybody. My name is Anis Shtiti. I am a business development manager at Vocational Center for Excellence in Bizet from Tunisia. I will share with you today the ecosystem for a startup in Tunisia. And thank you. Thank you.
Merci, merci les collègues. And we have another speaker for our panel from a country that we heard a lot about what Norway is doing to promote entrepreneurship. Tommy, the floor is yours from Norway.
Yes, hi. Thank you, and good morning from Bodø, above the Arctic Circle here in Norway. Cold weather, I'm afraid. So I am Tommy Clausen. I'm a professor of entrepreneurship at Nord University Business School, which is one of the leading business schools in Scandinavia, the Nordic region, on entrepreneurship research, working a lot with incubators and how to promote students and so on to start their own company through various types of educational programs. So thank you for the invitation to be here and looking forward to the debate.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, everyone. We have a very big variety of countries today, and that's very good because startups are about also diversity and having different ideas. As we know, we are dealing with vocational training centers in our project. So this transition from training provision to also supporting business. And the combination of this function of training our youth, but also helping those who are interested in setting up a business is a bit of a challenge, and it can be done in different ways. So I would like to start by giving the floor to Marco, because I think your learning enterprise is a kind of transition combining training provision and business inspiration without being totally in the business and pure business. So something that can be, I think, of inspiration for many of the training centers in our webinar. Could you please tell us a bit more, Marco, how you combine training and startup? Thank you. 3 minutes, sorry.
Yes, and thank you for the question, but it's not so easy to combine training and job work together. The idea of learning enterprise or training enterprise is that we have a sort of company that is inside the training center. And in the training center, we give with this enterprise, with this company, we give services and products to people that are from outside the training center. So services and products not only for students, not only for teachers, but also for people that comes from outside. This is the main idea. We try to make something like an intersection between a job and training. So something like a lab plus, a laboratory with something more. So in our laboratories, we try to, let's take an example because it is more easy, I think, to explain the idea. If we have a bar that is a laboratory for our guys, for our students, this bar also gives services to people that are from outside. So the coffee that we make in this bar is not made for only for students and to trash it in the basin. We use it with a client, and this client is a real client that comes from outside. This is the idea of the learning enterprise. Why we do this? Because we trust that the work-based learning is the most important thing for our students in general. And after that, I will talk about what kind of students. So if we trust in the work-based learning, we think that the beautiful way, the most important way that we could have to train people is to make a laboratory that is quite similar to a company. In general, to make a laboratory that is a company. So an evolution of a normal laboratory. And the idea also in this laboratory, we train not only the professional skills, because we are in an enterprise, so we train also the transversal skills. In general, we can call it in a different way, but not only professional skills. Who are the people that are involved in these activities? We are people that are in general unemployed people, but we use the learning enterprise. We use it normally with young people in the initial VET, in the initial training activities. So people that sometimes are not already prepared for apprenticeship normally stay in our learning enterprise. So it's quite similar to an enterprise. They have an apprenticeship inside, but they make services for outside. We use also learning enterprise in general for disabled people, people that have some problem to go straight in an enterprise to have an internship or apprenticeship in general. We use learning enterprise in this way. Where we have enterprise, and I use only pictures just to give you an idea of our enterprise. So I use the second part of my time for this. With this picture, I will show you the different kind of enterprise that we use in Italy, around Italy. This is the first enterprise that is a point of sale. We call it Bistro. Ubuntu is the name of this point of sale. And this Bistro is in a garden, in a little garden in Ravenna, in Emilia-Romagna. And this is the point of sale. And these are our students that stay in this point and sell something, sell wine or something more, okay, in Ravenna. Another example is an enterprise in gardening that we have in Bergamo, in Lombardia. The name is Facciamo quello che potiamo, but it's so difficult to translate the term potiamo because
yes. You have 1 minute, Marco. Sorry.
Yes, I'm going to finish. This is another example because it's different to make an enterprise in gardening or in bar or in a bistro. Let's go on with the other kind of enterprise. This is another in Bergamo. This is the one that we have in Roma. Another bar. This is a bar, laboratory and bar in Turin, where I am in this moment. Another different company is in São Paulo, Roma. This is a hairdresser company, and this is the place where they make laboratory and they make hairdressing to people that comes from outside. Some other example, this is another enterprise in Tiene, in Veneto. That is for disabled people, Sangha Bar, and this is quite particular because people that stay here, that work here, are very difficult from one side, but very interesting for other side. So I conclude my my moment with some question around your question. The first question is if we produce services and if we train people, what is the role of the trainer? Is a facilitator?
Sorry, we come to this in the second question. Sorry, Marco, I need to give the floor. Sorry, I will come back. So thank you so much. So already we take a couple of concepts, very important. So a workshop that is a company, a real company, that skills that go with soft skills, initial vet, but also disabled people. So the learning company can help in many, many ways. Let's go now then to Moldova and listen what is your center doing to support business startups. Thank you, Cezara.
Hello. To support business startup in Moldova, our Center of Excellence is supporting and promoting business in most of all entrepreneurial activities. We can mention that the institution makes significant contributions through the developing of entrepreneurial skills, with a particular emphasis on training in business startups and management skills. Among the course units that make a significant contribution of the development of entrepreneurial skills and support for startups are basic of entrepreneurship and the exercise field. The course unit basic of entrepreneurship aims consist in the developing of a business plan by each student, which is publicly presented and evaluated by the teacher. The continuity of this course unit is a national competition, the Best Business Plan, which is organized and held annually by our institution in partnership with the Ministry of the Education and Research and the microfinance company Microinvest. The local stage of the competition is carried out by all technical vocational education institutions in the country, and then the winners are delegated to the regional stage. Here we are talking about the three regions of the country, North, Center, and South. At the end, this competition ends with the Republican stage, where the winners are chosen. Up to now, the winners were supported with financial support in the form of equipment purchases worth up to the $2,000, which was provided by an NGO from project-based funding sources. However, once the project is completed, no future funding opportunities have been identified, and this year the winners will be awarded only with diplomas and prizes. We hope that in the near future we will identify potential funders who would like to support these startups. Another course unit developed and implemented in the curricula is in the academic year 2006-2007, also on a project basis by Culture Contact, is the exercise company. In this course unit, students developed and managed a business virtual company, going through all stages from the launch of the entity to its liquidation. Entrepreneurial skills are also developed at the Impact Club, which operated at the institution every Tuesday day. During these activities, various entrepreneurs from abroad and from the country are invited to reveal to students the secrets of successful business in partnership with the business incubator of Academy of Economic Studies from Moldova. And another good practices in order to support business startups are practical activities in the school companies that are created and operate in the institution outside of the classes. Their students can develop their business during a year of study. There we're talking about the school year, second school year. As part of these activities, students produce goods like ecological soaps, bracelets, etc., which they then sell at fairs. The money they earn are either donated to charity or invested in the purchase of raw materials. In brief, there is our good practices in order to support the business startups.
Wow, thank you, Cezara. So there is a lot already going on from the competition to partnership with the microfinance, partnership with international donors, partnership with the ecosystem. This virtual company exercise is also quite interesting, the Impact Club. So all this, if you can also share in the chat so that the other participants can have a look. the same for all the speakers, including Marco that has already spoken and others. Okay, so that's
in the chat.
very good, very good. So thank you for sharing this good wealth. I would like now to move back to the Basque countries, to Technica, and ask what you are doing to support business startups. What are the first steps in particular? Knowing, Pili, that here around the table we have centers of vocational training, mainly training youngsters, level ISCED 4 and 5. Thank you, Pili.
Thanks, Maria Victoria. Absolutely, yes. It's interesting question. Entrepreneurship has become a characteristic of BET students for Basque Country, so that Technica designs an integral plan in order to guide the promoter, which constitutes the ecosystem. For us, it's very important, the ecosystem. The entrepreneurial education ecosystem is defined as a triangle. I mean, a triangle formed by the students or future promoters, teachers, or facilitators, and network of enterprises created before, with institutions and so on. With the aim of promoting entrepreneurship within the vocational training network, 2 lines of work have been created. Ikas Empresa is a Basque name, and Urrats Bat. The Ikas Empresa program is the one which promotes the entrepreneurial culture within the active collaborative methodology based on challenges. And on the other hand, the Urratspat program that promotes the creation of company or business startups. So answering to your question, Maria Victoria, I will tell you more about the Urratspat program. But I would like to give some clues about Ikas Empresa also to understand the next step. The resources and strategies we are pursuing in order to obtain the best possible results. I would like to briefly give some information about the Ikas Empresa program. So, all the students of Basque Country Vocational Center has had the opportunity to develop an Ikas Empresa. I mean, the challenge of starting their simulated business. They set up a simulated company, as Cesara has said, developing the entrepreneurial competencies, soft skills also, but creating a real product or service that they present in a fair. We are talking about a network of more than 2,200 teachers that are the clue, our teacher, more than 2,000 teachers. And we create more than 1,000 Ikas Empresa companies per year. We are talking about a simulated companies. However, when it comes to creating business startup, it is important to provide the entrepreneur a comprehensive assessment service, the possibility of using a duly equipped office and facilities of our center shops to make their prototypes, as well as the know-how of the teachers that make up the vocational training ecosystem, all the knowledge and competencies developed within the network. And this is where Urratsbat comes in. We have Ikas Empresa on the one hand and on the other Urratsbat. In Urratsbat project participates 70 centers, big centers, and on average around 300 projects a year which are developed. And from them, 100 companies are created every year with a survival rate, which is very important indicator, of the 65%. And already more than 1,000 companies have been created since 2000. In order to make this result possible, a structure of facilitators, teachers, I mean, is created who are trained by a Technica team and who are offered training, and co-working to be able to offer future promoters the resources available in centers and the connectors with the ecosystem of Basque Country. We make an annual plan, we structure it, where needs are defined in collaboration with the whole team of facilitators. And if you agree, in the next round, I will put the examples.
Thank you very much, Pili. So one word that was repeated from you several times is ecosystem and networks. So startups need an ecosystem and networks of teachers, network of support agencies. It's not done alone. It's not this idea of a lonely creative person, a genius creating a company, but there is teachers is the very important word that you repeated several times. So you are training 2,000 teachers that are in the network. And very nice, this idea that vet students create companies. So it is possible for vet students to create companies. Yeah, and they are there in the market. Very good. Thank you, Pili. I would like now to move and ask our friends from Tunisia, what is the center in Tunisia offering to their vet students in order to support them in starting their business? Murad, it's you or it's Anis to answer this question?
Yes, it's me.
Okay, good.
Murad, yes. Please, if Loretta can share the first slide. The first slide of a business startup, CFA Bizet support.
So
Marinos, do you have it?
Or,
okay, Marinos will share it.
Okay. No, the other one.
this is the second.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I will start.
Yes, please.
Yes. First of all, I want to make a little introduction. Our topic today is hello everyone, and our topic today is very important, especially in the economic and the social context of Tunisia. The prevailing mentality is that the majority of graduates are looking for a job as an employee in government or private institution. With the saturation of the labor market and the economic crisis that many companies expressed, finding a solution is essentially to live and bring add value. Creating startup should be a choice of career and not be a rescue obligation. For this reason, in the order to change the economic and the social model in Tunisia, it was necessary to change the mentality during the career choice. In this context, the CFA Bizet has started to work on the mindset of our learner in order to cut with the old habit of thinking of parents who want a job without risk and rather in the comfort zone. The CFA Bizet has created a springboard to entrepreneurship space that offer our learner a possibility of advantages and support in parallel with their training in the informal way. All this to save the time and to be informed and supported before being graduated. The aims of the Springboard space is preparing the young person for working life and acquiring a profile for employability, awarenesses, initiation and coaching in the entrepreneurship and self-employment, developing the behavioral, technical, and managerial skills of young people in the center, accompanying and guidance of young people with the potential project to consolidate and develop their idea and create their own business. Being an active citizen, remaining available to graduate with information and guidance, develop the internal network of the ATFP, organizing and participation in the workshop and events with our partner. When it happened, all this, during the training course in the center, before to be graduated, and to be graduated, informed about the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Bizerte especially, and in Tunisia, who intervened in the springboard to entrepreneurship. The springboard facilitator, the center staff, internal and external person resource, the learner resource, and the graduated learner resource. All this effort to prepare a new generation, creator, and entrepreneur for a better choice for a professional career, to save time before to be graduated, and to have to be favored over someone who has not been informed before and supported. And this slide can maybe resume the situation that we offer to the learner. We try to let the learner reflect about his career, because their ages they are not enough older, so they must reflect all the time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's okay. You still have something to add?
Yes. Yes,
Yes. There are transversal competences and there are support steps that we follow to the startup, as you see in the slide. Yes. And thank you.
Thank you. So very important what you said. Entrepreneurship needs to be fostered from the beginning of the studies, not at the end.
Yes.
And you have to work on the mindset and not only on giving funds to create a company at the end of the studies. I would give now the floor to the last speaker and then open up to some discussion. I saw already a question from Cesara in the chat, but before moving to some discussion, we all would like to hear about Norway. We hear that you start with entrepreneurial learning at the kindergarten. So please, Tommy, tell us in a nutshell, what is this Norwegian approach to entrepreneurship as a key competence? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It's quite of a challenge to summarize that in a couple of minutes, but so I think a key component of what Norway does is that perhaps not in kindergarten, but in secondary school. So from when kids are like 10 years throughout their education, they are exposed to entrepreneurship in the school setting. So their teachers can decide to implement entrepreneurship and to teach that from they're like 10 years old. And they continued to do that up into the university level. So I think On an annual basis, around 20% of all pupils in Norway from 10 years and above, they are they participate in a entrepreneurship program where they are supposed to start a company and close it down. The key thing is, I think what has been said, to teach entrepreneurial skills and mindsets. Not the key criteria is not really to make everyone a self-employed entrepreneur, because Norway is a rich country. We don't need thousands upon self-employed individuals, but we need entrepreneurial skills and mindsets in our businesses and in the public sector. So I think that is a key thing. And of course, when students kind of grow of age, we have a highly developed business support center consisting of incubators, accelerators, and so on, that are there to to assist the students further when they have finished their education. So I think that is sort of two key things: the extensiveness of entrepreneurship training, and also a highly sort of developed business support system for entrepreneurship. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So extensiveness. Everyone as of 10 years old exposed to entrepreneurship as a mindset, as also Tunisia was saying, and business support in a strict sense. Thank you, all the speakers. You really shared a wealth of practices and approaches. I know we have a second round of questions foreseen for each one of you, but first I would like maybe to open the floor to the questions that you may have risen with your presentations. First one from Cesara. I'm reading it loudly for everyone. And the first question is for Marco. Marco, what is the legal basis that allows your training center to use student labor? That's a very good question, especially if they are minors. This is the first question. And the second, what do you do with the income that you earn through your learning enterprises? How you report this money? That was also partly funded with public funds. So please share with us.
I start with this very difficult question, because this is one of the first questions that we have when we started with the activity of a learning enterprise. Let's start with how to allow to use students and labor. So the place where we have laboratory is the same place of the company. So when we are inside, they are students and workers. But if they are after 16 years old, they could be in apprenticeship. But if they are 15 years old, or if they are also 16 or 17 years old, they could stay in the laboratory like a normal laboratory and produce services for outside. But this could be done only if we have a relation with the regional institution. So the region say that this is a normal laboratory that gives services for outside. Only with this we can do a learning enterprise, because without this we cannot, absolutely. Another way that we use the learning enterprise is that sometimes we have different organization in the same place, but different organizations. So we have an organization that is a learning enterprise inside the training center, and in this way we can only have students that are apprenticeship or are in internship. So they are in the same place, but when they work for the learning enterprise, they are in a particular contract, they are in a particular way. How do we use the income? When we have income in the enterprise, we reuse this income for laboratory, for devices, for activities of the same laboratory. Our enterprise is like our foundation, so we don't have we cannot have more money than the money that we have for doing activities for students. So we invest the same money in activities in the laboratory. So the companies grow, but the laboratory grow. Okay, because in the same place we have the same things. Sandra, you have opened a company within an institution. So we use the two methods. One method is to have the company in the same institution of the learning organization, of the training organization, and sometimes we use another company that is a participation with our organization, but is formerly another company that we use for apprenticeship. So we don't have apprenticeship inside the training center. We have apprenticeship inside in the same space, the training center, but in another company. This is the way that we use, and we use this way in all around Italy, but only if we have activities, if we have a relation with the regional institution. So the regional institution knows that we have a learning enterprise inside. So this is the way.
Yeah. So Cesara, is it? Would you like to take the floor? Is it clear enough?
Thank you very much, Marco, for precisions.
So there are different legal companies, institutions in the same physical space.
Framework of legal is a very big challenge for us in Moldavia. That is why I asked.
Can I add only another thing that is that we have not only legal and notices for students, but we have also to understand that an enterprise is an enterprise and a training center or a laboratory is a laboratory. But when we are an enterprise, we have also legal so we have to respond to legal activities only to sell services. So if we are a bar, if you are a bar laboratory is one thing, but if we are a bar that sells services for outside, it's different. So we have to have particular legal and notice activities only for this, because we are an enterprise, but we are also a training center. Okay. So students is one problem, but the other problem is to have legal activities and legal recognition to sell services.
Thank you, Marco. That I expected this question because it's very important. Another question that comes from the chat, and I thank very much for the question. I don't know if the person who put it in the chat would like to voice the question. And otherwise, I will read it. Dietmar Hansen, would you like to ask your question? Thank you. And introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you. So usually so first of all, I should introduce myself. I work for the GIZ in Palestine. We also have activities related to TVET and self-employment. And what we usually find is that those who come out of the vocational training system, that they are usually not fit enough with regards to their skills to actually start a company successfully. So usually those who have been working for a number of years, preferably in several companies and acquired a lot of knowledge, they can actually start thinking of starting a company successfully. And to turn those who come out of the TVET system into entrepreneurs, and especially those who were not selected by companies for wage employment, to turn them into entrepreneurs. We found that to be a huge problem. And that's because there's a lot of knowledge in this round here. And thanks to all the speakers who shared their knowledge, I wanted to hear their opinion on how to bridge that gap. I mean, we're sometimes thinking, could there be like targeted, very specialized knowledge, which allows for a specific field to be self-employed, like as an example, air condition technician or something, just to get started as a company. But that's just a challenge that we found here. So I'm really interested to hear what the experts in your round say. So thank you very much for arranging this.
Thank you very much, Dietmar. You touch a very important aspect. So these skills specific to surviving, because it's not enough to set up a company, maybe with some microfinance scheme, but then you need to equip people to survive in the market, be it self-employed or be it entrepreneurs. I don't know if anyone would like to volunteer. I may think that maybe Pili or maybe Tommy have something to share, what you are doing in Norway, in the Basque countries to do that. Thank you.
Can I start if you want, Maria Victoria? And in the second round, I will put the example of a technical and business startup, and I think it's related with his question. For us, the clue is in the ecosystem. I mean, teachers that helps learners to develop their own business startup should be a mix of teachers. I mean, technician teachers who knows about the air conditioning systems or blockchain or whatever business startup, but also the institutions which are around us. And for example, in Basque Country, when we are talking about business startup based on technical items or issues, they help us not only with the fundings, but also with the technical issues. They help the promoters to develop and to look for those resources, those knowledge in the field of technicians' issues. And as the teachers involved in Urratsbat project are mixed teachers, I mean, not only management teachers, but also technicians, all of us get good results to try to help the promoters. I don't know if I have explained in a correct way.
Is there a slide that can support what you're saying? Because time is running very fast. I'm talking under the control of the chair. I'm not sure we will have time for a second round of questions, but if there is a slide that may illustrate what you are saying.
I haven't prepared for today the slide, but I can prepare for Thursday and I can send to you to be able to get to the others.
Okay, thank you so much. I don't know, Tommy, if you in Norway, what are you doing to support in this case? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's a very good question that Dietmar posed there. So in Norway, I think that we, like I said, I think we are not sort of focusing on that students should start a company immediately. I fully agree that having experience is important, and that is one of the most robust predictors of new venture performance in research. So we are rather sort of focusing on learning entrepreneurial skills and mindsets, so that individuals, when they have more experience, can then start a company. So we are not sort of focusing that strongly on sort of encouraging people to become entrepreneurs at once, but to instill this skills and competencies so that they can act entrepreneurially within a normal job, but also when having more experience and networks, and then perhaps start a company. So I think that is the focus is not on encouraging everyone to become entrepreneurs, but rather to instill these skills and mindsets, which may later on provide possibilities for starting a company that survives and thrives. Yeah. Thanks.
So again, Tommy, if I got it right, it's very, very important, the mindset, to work extensively from a young age on the mindset, rather than pushing quickly to business startups. Is this the idea? Yeah. Okay. Mr. Chair, how many minutes we are still having for this panel?
I think we were 5 minutes late to start, so it's okay. I mean, we can take a few more minutes if you want, if there are questions. I think it's fine.
Thank you. So I would give maybe the floor to Tunisia, because they didn't take the floor for a second time in this panel. Anis, I don't know if you would like to ask any question after hearing the guests, or if you would like to share anything from Tunisia, and then I think we can close the panel. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Maria. I will ask about financial mechanics for boosting startup. If there is some governmental or non-governmental fund exist, and if there is a business incubator model in this institution, in this university, that's my question.
Thank you, Murad. Very important. Money.
Yes, because this question will open for us in center to have an idea about our challenge. Who will speak after in the second point?
Yeah, there won't be room for a second question. This is the second question, Murad. Are you asking the question to any speaker in particular, or just
no, in general.
To reply? In general. So,
yes.
So who would like to reply? Also, other people around the table. Which are the financial mechanisms? Because support to business startup is expensive. Yes. Is it expensive?
Yes.
Okay, so how does it work in your countries? This is an open question. Who would like to answer?
Maybe I ask Pili.
It's not an easy question, but for example, if we are talking about services, creation of companies, we have in institutions the develop agents that helps them with not so a lot of money. I'm talking about 6,000 euros more or less. But when we are talking about business, a startup in which the technical part is high enough, in our ecosystem, we have different institutions called SPRI and BICS. I can send you the information about them. And they have a procedure to listen to the promoters. And if they decided that the idea is good enough to invest on them, you can have the help from until I think 60,000 euros in the first step. Then if the company is created and the viability of the issue is correct, we have another helps that could goes, I think, 120,000 euros. But you have to do the business company develop with a research center. I mean, there are some conditions to give the funds from the government. And I think it's very important to know which is the ecosystem which is around the bed center or university or whatever you are analyzing. Connect. The teacher should be well connected with those institutions, and then the doors are open, because at least in Europe there are I don't know many funds, but there are some funds that can help business startup companies. And if the startup companies has the possibility to have very good growth, it's interesting for them also. So we create a good ecosystem, and in that ecosystem there are the teachers, the community that forms the companies we have been created during the years, and institutions, develop agencies and government institutions. I don't know if I have answered, or do you need any more information?
Thank you, Pili. Thank you. I think it's a bit of a summary as well, your last sentence. And with this one, I'm afraid we need to close the panel, but not the webinar. So I would like to thank all the speakers, give back the floor to the chair, because we continue our trip, and I guess there will be room for questions also after the second panel, isn't it? Thank you,
Yes.
everyone.
Thank you all. It was great conversations. I suggest we take a 5-minute break, and we'll be back in 5 minutes to continue with another exciting panel for the second round. I kindly ask my team to put the lovely coffee music on and deliver coffee and cookies to everybody for 5 minutes. See you in 5 minutes, guys. hope we are all back so we can continue. Let's give a few seconds until everybody is back. I hope you had a lovely break, had a nice snack, coffee. So we can continue with our second round now. I think that we captured a lot of good ideas from the first panel, and the summary is very simple. Supporting startups, it's not easy. It requires good collaboration. It requires support from the whole ecosystem, and it's not just the COVE's responsibility. It requires a lot of things to be in place. But we'll hear more now in our second panel. And in the interest of time, I would kindly ask my co-panelists to try to be concise in their responses. We will start, we will do a small change in the sequence since Anna from OECD might have to leave a bit earlier. So I will give first the floor to Anne from OECD. The first round is you all have 1 minute to introduce yourself, your role in your institution. Anne, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. And I apologize if I have to leave promptly in 50 minutes. So my name's Anne Rimmer. I'm a policy analyst in entrepreneurship education in the Center for Entrepreneurship at the OECD. I think what's relevant today is both sort of the OECD's macro goal, which is better policies for better lives, and thinking about how governments and policy actors can take steps to sort of improve lives for citizens. But then also specifically the project that I'm working on, which is a collaboration with the European Commission on what's called HI Innovate, which is about supporting higher education institutions to be both innovative and entrepreneurial. And I'll be talking about some of the findings that came out of our research.
Wonderful. Thank you, Anne. Now let me give the floor to Angela from the Idea Center at the Bank of Cyprus. Angela?
Hello, everybody. Just 1 minute, yes?
Yes, just introduce yourself and we will come back to questions for the second round.
My name is Angela. I run Idea Innovation Center, which is especially nurturing and creating business startups. We are at the end of, they have to create their own business with customers' revenues, and we provide all the, at the back of it, we provide all the skills in a 1 year, 9 months to 1 year journey for 7 years.
For a whole 7 years, great. When we come back on the second round, will be good to hear a bit more, Angela. Let's go to Adriana from Slovenia.
Hi, hello. Indeed, I'm from Slovenia, but today hello from Dublin, because so it's a mix. So I had a problem with 1 hour time difference, but it's okay. So I'm the head of Intercompany Training Center from Slovenia, which is a part of the School Center of Nova Gorica. And School Center of Nova Gorica is one of the biggest vet centers in Slovenia. We are also the member of the consortium of the Slovenian vet centers, where we are the lead for innovation in vet already for many years. We are also the member of EU Provet, and I'm the member of the board member of EU Provet, which is the Association of European Vet Providers. And I'm also the lead of Talent Journey, which is the platform for IoT vocational excellence.
Wonderful, thank you. Nina from Georgia.
Hello, everyone. Yes, I am from Georgia, the city of Rustavi. I'm a director of the college, Vocational College, which is providing 15 directions of different professions, and it's including construction directions and tailoring and cooking and everything like this. We are on the level to start entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial programs in our college. So today's webinar is very important for us and very fruitful, I think, because the experience that our colleagues spoke about in the first first part of the webinar was very interesting for us. So we'll talk about our college, the opportunities, what we have, the technical resources, and everything what we do, how we support the startups which our students try to begin, and what is the ecosystem around the college. So I'll share this experience with you later, okay?
Thank you. Thank you. We also have a virtual participation by Morocco, our colleague Najib, that I will share later, a brief video on some of the key reflections from his team. Let's go back now to Anne. Anne, from OECD's perspective and the work you do, what are some of the key elements that can make a business startup successful? Let's try to keep it to around 4 or 5 minutes max, please. Thank you.
Challenge accepted. So we did reviews of 13 countries across Europe, we started with Bulgaria in 2014, and we finished most recently with a series of reports on Sweden, Lithuania, Greece, and Sweden this past year. So it's been a broad to the spectrum across Europe, looking at a wide range of institutions. And one of the things those reports looked at was entrepreneurship, teaching and learning, and preparing and supporting entrepreneurs, which are dimensions of the HI Innovate framework. And what I thought I'd share was sort of 4 themes that came out of what we saw in terms of success across those very, very different contexts. So the first was celebrating entrepreneurship as a career path. This is a case that sort of, we've talked about entrepreneurship, can be the option for those who couldn't find work elsewhere. It can be presented that way. It can be perceived as being very risky, the less optimal option. And really institutions that were successful, that celebrated entrepreneurship as a proactive choice that some students made because it was the right fit for them, really achieved a lot of success in what they were doing in terms of startups. The second thing that we saw is thinking about the student, not just while they're a student, but also thinking about alumni, and how are the institutions engaging alumni 2, 3, 4 years after they graduated, by potentially giving them access to startup space, incubators, building the connection with them sort of throughout their career. And that had a number of benefits in terms of helping people become an entrepreneur. Maybe they weren't ready right after they left their institution, but they might be ready in a few months' time, a few years' time after they'd sort of gained experience, and sort of but coming back and having that relationship. But equally, it was cyclical. So some of those people who were ready to be entrepreneurs, maybe 7 years after they left the institution, also had learning about the sector and the work that they were doing that they could share with students who were still at the institution. So really building that relationship and seeing relationship with students as throughout that person's career, rather than just as the 4 years they were studying.
And extending it beyond graduation. That's very good.
Absolutely. They were part of, they're sort of seeing students as sort of a part of a organic academic community that continued. The third thing we saw was working with their ecosystem. What works in one region of a country is not going to be the solution that works in another region of the country. There'll be different employment dynamics, different strengths, different weaknesses, if a student's in an urban area versus a rural area, their local economies. So really tailoring the business support that was around that ecosystem. And I saw a fascinating example in Klaipėda in Lithuania, where they really understood their role in the blue economy and being on the Baltic coast, and really thinking about how they supported entrepreneurs who wanted to specifically be part of that economy, rather than just sort of generic entrepreneurship of any sort of business. So sort of thinking about how there's sort of skills needs and economic needs. And then the last thing we saw was interdisciplinary. And this was both in terms of taking the entrepreneurial mindset outside of just those in a business school or in an entrepreneurship program, that it's something that every student can have access to. But interesting, we were talking to a startup organization that supports student startups all across Hungary. And they were talking about the most successful sort of student-led startups that they support are ones that bring together students from multiple disciplines And that's what's really invaluable about that is not just that they create successful startups, but the students who are part of that learn to work with people who maybe had different training than their own. So maybe a student who's coming from a specific technical background had an idea, but they needed to work with a student with a marketing background or had worked more on sort of writing and drafting to come up with the sales pitch. And that's sort of a classic example, but it was more complex than that. So really, if I was to take away sort of 4 things that we saw successful, it's celebration of entrepreneurship, working with alumni, building relationships with the community and understanding what the community's SME ecosystem looks like, and interdisciplinarity.
Great, wonderful. Thank you, Anne. I know that this down, we will come back to it when we have the inter-conversations. Let's go back to Angela, who is running an incubator and actually successful one, and they have very good reputation in Cyprus and the region. Angela, would you like to share a bit more about how the incubator works and maybe some of the key elements of a good one?
Of course. How many minutes do I have?
Let's say 5, and then if we have more time, we'll come back. Is that okay?
No, it's enough. It's enough.
Thank you.
So idea is focusing on creating a business. We don't look at the qualifications of the person, or if he has a degree or if she doesn't have a degree. We train them from the beginning based on entrepreneurial skills and soft skills, and also financial skills. We are focusing on these 2 because irrespective of where do they come from, for example, they may be, we have doctors, we have more simple professions. We teach them how to create their own business, because not everybody that has a very good idea and a lot of determination to create their own business or whatever background, they don't know how to make their own business because they don't know the accounting process, the legal process, how to register the company, what to expect, some failure stories, some success stories, how to keep your morale high during the first year especially, and all these things. So we are industry agnostic and we are background agnostic. We accept anybody who has an innovative idea, who has determination to bring it into life, is willing to work with a team, because if you are alone, I don't think you can make a successful business. And the business needs to have a global outlook. This is through technology. This is the definition of the startup. So we run in annual cycles. To be specific, it's a 9-month cycles. We start every March and we finish every December with the same group of startups. Usually it's 10 to 15 teams. We teach them a lot of things. Some of the things we teach them, for example, would be how to register your legal entity, how to create your business model canvas, how to build your team, basic accounting skills, basic financial projections, and towards the end, more advanced financial projections, how to find your own the software developer, or how to learn basic software developing skills for the beginning. As you know, I'm sure everybody knows that we have it's a scarce resource, software developers. We also teach digital marketing, business plan, and we also teach soft skills. For example, presentation skills. We see that it's something that needs a lot of enhancement, because after all, after the first year, you will have to pitch in front of the investor, and if you don't look confident and persuasive, you don't have a lot of chances, even if you have a great product. So this is the first pillar we have, to create viable business. The second pillar that we have is the mindset. We want to transmit an entrepreneurial mindset and an entrepreneurial culture within our country. In Cyprus, we have a lot of educated people, university graduates, but we don't have a large number of startups, and we want to connect the two. What we need is to educate the young people from very young ages, and I heard some very good practices from the other panelists, and we are jealous, of course. And we need to educate the young people, and we need to educate the parents. the teachers, the investors, the employers, the people, the politicians, the people who inspire youth and give the message that from young ages, they can also become entrepreneurs. They don't have to become a private employee or a government employee or a bank employee. They can also think of entrepreneurship and startups as their career. You can interrupt me, Haralambos, if I'm taking too much.
No, so, you have another minute if it's okay.
Okay. So the mindset, we emphasize a lot on extroversion. We take them abroad because Cyprus is very small and Europe is our family. And also we expand to other regions as well. For example, Israel, Lebanon, we have cooperated and visited. We emphasize the private-public partnership. That's why we work with the government a lot, because IDEA is a non-profit institution. So the goal is the same, to elevate the country on the innovation map and by giving back. Well, we started it, but a lot of like 100 other companies are with us and giving back their time, their skills, their knowledge for free to these young people that we host every year. What we offer, shall I go through what we offer, Haralambos?
If you can do it in 20, 30 seconds, yeah.
I can adjust. It's a 9-month program. It's a very intensive training at the first 4 months. After that, we go through another evaluation process. And if they're successful after the 4th month and have registered their company and started having a prototype and something like that, we give them cash as well to pay for their initial expenses. We bring them together with experts, business people, business women, businessmen. We take them to the television. We consult them on legal, accounting, marketing, and technology matters. We have a very nice building in the city center, a 3-store building, very modern, especially targeted to young people, and business opportunities and connecting them with large corporates when it's time and when they are ready.
Wonderful. Thank you, Angela, for a very concise and speedy sharing of experience. Thank you. We will come back. Let's go to Adriana now and see some of the initiatives and examples in Slovenia to support startups.
Thank you very much. So again, I have 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a kind of pitch, so I am going to stick to my points.
You have to practice your entrepreneurial elevator speech, all of you.
I know. Okay, so what do we follow, let's say, and because we really notice how this culture of the perception of young people change and being interested in startups. So we go the following steps. It's very important to foster the innovation and creative culture, right, among the learners, among the teachers, among the leadership. We should not forget about the leadership. We offer opportunities for the space to act and think creative and innovative. I'm talking also about infrastructure, because this is also very important. We established a multi-level network of experienced, supportive mentors, role models, information and resources. When I'm talking about different levels, it's about local, regional, national, international, global, whatever. This is very important. We work on mutual trust, respect, and understanding among students, teachers, and mentors. This is also very important to build self-confidence. We give the opportunity to work on real-life problems, looking for the solutions, to feel what does it mean like, and we have a transparent offer of resources, the network of mentors, activities, support, financial resources, co-workers, and we foster the mindset, which is very important in our country because there was a lack of it. So if you fail, nothing is wrong. Just learn from the mistakes and continue your journey. So this is very important thing. So now let's go to the concrete steps or offers that we do to our people, or let's people from the community, not only to our learners. So to raise this entrepreneurial mindset or to support young people or also other people in establishing startups, we started to introduce the career guidance, but we build it on the successful stories of successful entrepreneurs. And we very often involved from our alumni club. So they were very often our ex-students, really from different levels, not only engineers, also car mechanics, because they are doing really crazy things. We are offering workshops to develop entrepreneurial skills, impersonal skills, I don't know, teamwork, negotiation, strategic thinking, whatever, but in different way. You know, this is not the traditional way of delivering. Very often it happens in kind of meetups, non-formal learning, really different stakeholders. So this is very important. So we established and put in function the Fab Lab, which is an interdisciplinary lab for prototyping ideas. And there actually is the same thing as Anne before from OECD. I mean, exactly what you have said, it's true, because we are experiencing this every day. It's so important that you give them some space, some open space. It needs to be interdisciplinary. They come with different knowledge and skills. They need to mix students, teachers, people from outside, some mentors from companies. This is very important. And you need to leave them, give them space and freedom. That's very important. We started to connect the learning company, which was more a kind of, you know, just learning, but with the practical experience in Fab Lab and connecting with the business, with real products and services on the market to get the feeling. So we offer, let's say, the potential start-uppers the equipment, they can use it. So we need to build on trust, because it was very problematic before, because the teacher didn't want to trust that much to young people the equipment, but now we are building on trust and it's working. We attend a yearly competition for the best ideas for the startups and also for the learning companies. We are connecting the interesting potential start-uppers with the suitable mentors and cutting edge companies with Technological Park, who offers the whole support after graduating to offer the startup, to open the startup. We offer to work on real life changes, solutions for our area and further. For example, now they are involved in concrete solutions for the European Capital of Culture, because Nova Gorica and Gorizia are going to be in 2025. So they will need to create real solutions, especially in the field of digitalization. We organize regularly hackathon events. They are very popular among young people, especially international ones. We are opening up our now, let's say, plan is to open up the majority of labs and workshops that we have, also the traditional ones, because it's very often it happens that in the afternoon these spaces are not occupied. But come on, we have so many good ideas, especially young people, and this is very important to open up. And the last thing, we are providing them with the info. You know, we cannot offer everything because we don't possess all the expertise. That's why we build very strong on networks, on resources, and we give them information so that they will know where to get. It's about, I don't know, it's Kickstarter, it's about, you know, so many things that you can find out there. And what is very important, because I send you the list of links, not only by my side, but by our, let's say, young students, they make me the whole list. How do they actually cope also by themselves? They mostly work in Discord, and there they can find the investors, the suitable mentors. I mean, it's everything. So we just need to give them the support and also trust them, because we can learn from them a lot. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you. I mean, I noted a lot of good insights that I will come back after Nina's brief reflection. Nina from Georgia, would you like to talk a bit about your work and about Fab Lab?
Yes, okay. Thank you. It was really interesting presentation from Adriana. Our college is a governmental institution in part of Eastern Georgia. We have two colleges, and one college is located in urban area where we are now. And another college, which is the branch college of us, is located in a rural area, and we are providing agricultural programs too. So today I would like to speak about Fab Lab. which is our pride, which is providing extracurricular activities, not only for students, but for teachers and all our staff who can come to Fab Lab to study the programs, some digital programs, what they can use in their life. So now I will show you the space of Fab Lab and all the equipments which are provided by the government. These are the dresses which are created in our Fab Lab and using 3D printers we are very proud of it, and our students are working here every day. We use a 3D printer. Here are some national costumes which are created here also in Fab Lab, and we are keeping these all materials here, not selling and not generating any income. Here you can see some workings from which are created by our students. These all are printed on 3D printers. So all these equipments are, as I said, provided by the government and purchased by the government funding. But we try to encourage all the donors, and we get some funding, some additional fundings from donors to create some business incubator in college. And now we have ongoing project with one international donor, and we have about 100 students from the outside of college, from the community, and we teach them how to start business, how to create company, what to do, how to generate income, so on. And this is very good opportunity for youngsters living in our area. What about the ecosystem? I would like to talk about successful story what we have when our students they started creating some clothes after finishing the college, and they had startup using new technologies, so from the Fab Lab, and they got government supported funding to start business. So this is called Enterprise Georgia. This is the name of program, and they got all the equipments what they needed to start business, and the college diploma and the background they had in our college helped them to get this funding and start business. Also, the local government, our college is considered by the local government as an opportunity for the city to develop and to increase the economy, because our city is an industrial area, and this college is just one unique institution which is providing skilled people, and which is providing skills to young people to start their business or start their job. So I can talk more.
I think it's enough for a first round. You gave us a lot of good examples and how your teams work and so on. Allow me to share with you a 2-minute recording from our other panelist, Najib from Morocco, who shares some of his reflections. Give me a second, please. So here we go.
The status of business startups in Morocco is characterized by a great dynamic in the last 8 years. For example, we can see that there are the proliferation of incubators which are found in the high streets, and which are the initiative of some entrepreneurs who identified a need to support young students or nursing students with initiatives with good ideas to start a business. And on the other side, there are efforts by the public authorities which have created also many funds which come to assist young people with ideas. Of course, some of these funds, they would support young people who have already started a business and a business which is already commercially viable. But there are also funds which support pre-incubation and incubation phases. We also would notice that there is a dynamic inside universities. Some universities have established their own entrepreneurship center to encourage students become entrepreneurs at an early stage of their career. On the other side, as far as the vocational education sector, we can see that this point is a little bit lacking more importance. We tend more to think about learners as would-be salarians or employees rather than entrepreneurs. So my point of view is that there is an effort to be done on this side. As far as our school is concerned, we are on the point of launching our entrepreneurship center, for which we have already given a name, which is ESIF Factory, maybe a factory of ideas or factory of entrepreneurs. And in the first phase of the launch of this center, we will focus more on pre-incubation, encourage students, ideas holders to set up their business frame.
Right, thank you. That was a brief presentation about our colleague Najib. I know that several good common themes, but I will not talk about it. First, would like to go back to all of you. Are there any questions from the participants here before we go to a second round of questions? Anybody would like to take the floor and comment or ask a question?
It's clear, thank you.
Please.
No, it's clear. It's clear.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
then let me go to our panelists and
if I may, sorry, Charalambos.
Yes. You are muted. You are muted, Maria Vittoria.
I would like to take advantage of Angela being with us and being in an accelerator incubator. Before she leaves, if she can share with us some hints, considering that around our table we have TVET centers. They are training youth in vocational skills, youth mainly between 14 and 18. So one road to go is definitely self-employment, for all the technical jobs, eventually also, and for sure, I hope, entrepreneurship. First question, any difference between training or encouraging self-employment vis-a-vis business startups? Is there any difference there that we should consider? Or in general, any hint you would give to the directors of the TVET centers? Because normally we think, that is mainly for graduate people of universities. And what I liked a lot about when you started your presentation is that you don't look at the qualifications of the people. That's very good, because we tend to think there is a hierarchy, to become a good entrepreneur. So yeah, please share with us, having in mind that here around this table, our main concern are youngsters studying in vet schools. It's a very open question. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you. What I said is that we don't look at the background, and we don't look at the background. We need to see, we focus on the personality. The entrepreneur is a different person. He wants to get or she wants to get the job done. She will do more faster. She will ignore failures. She will be persistent. She will persevere. She will find other ways. She will work day, night, weekends, no matter what. And she really loves what she's doing. This is the personality we are looking for. Everything else can be taught and can be learned. You can learn how to make a balance sheet or a profit and loss or an income statement. You can learn how to make financial projections. The personality, if you have like students, your students there from 14 to 18, you said that they really want to do their own business. And the difference between the entrepreneur and the startup, so automatically I would say there is no difference. However, a startup is usually a technology startup. Therefore, in your team, you need to have the industry expert, the one that is in love with what do you want to do, I just mentioned. You need the business person, and you need the developer, the software developer. This is the technology startup. This is the international definition. However, not all businesses that start from an idea have to be technology startups. They can be an SME, a small business in the area. I'm not sure if this is your question. The attributes need to be the same. The road of entrepreneurship and the road of the startup is different from the road of the employee. The employee does not have to worry about a lot of things. How to file the taxes, how to find new customers, how to grow the business, goes home and maybe is peace of mind. If you're an entrepreneur, you take it with you all the time. So the difference is in the character, in the personality. What else did I answer, or is there anything else that you want me to elaborate?
No, that's very clear and fine. Yeah. Thank you. There is a question from Cesara in the chat.
Yeah, there is a question. How do you legally manage the copyright transfer of a software created by a student in a Fab Lab? And this, I assume, is towards our colleagues who refer to Fab Labs here. Anybody would like to take this question?
I'm sorry, but I don't think I'm able to answer this question at the moment, because they are developing also the software, the students. But I think this is a kind of, as it was said before, pre-incubator phase, and it is just ambition to learn there, to get the experience, not about the legal rights. So we are not dealing with this issue. And if this one wants to develop further, we just connect them with this technological park that I told you before, who is actually the support in our region for the really startups and developing further there into the company.
Okay, so I have a very practical question for all our speakers. And I think it's probably a question that is of interest to all the COVEs. If I am a COVE and I'm doing some things in entrepreneurship, I teach, maybe I have some activities, but I don't have formal processes for supporting startups or an incubator and so on. What would be one practical advice you would give to this COVE? Where should we start? Oh, anybody who would like to respond? Go ahead, Anne.
Yeah, this is a good question for us.
It touches us.
Because it's our challenge here in our center, how we can start without official process.
Yeah, so let's hear from Anna, her reflection, and then we give the floor to anybody who would like to comment and share their ideas. Anne?
So I think the first thing I would do is start by listening, and specifically listening to the ecosystem that surrounds your institution. You know, what is the business context that the SMEs that'll come out of your institution, the small businesses, where will they be operating in?
I like that. Listening is very important. We rarely listen. You know, that's very good.
And I think absolutely, you know, start by listening to, you know, what is the small business ecosystem? What are the sectors that small business ecosystem is surrounding? What are some of the barriers to growth? What are some of the strengths that where startups in your region are really thriving? So understanding, you know, what's the missing puzzle piece that you can add to that ecosystem, recognizing there may be some other strengths or people working in it. So I think that would be the first step that I would say. And then if I'm going to cheat, and I'll add a second step, is that there are, you know, lots of fantastic examples, and we don't need to reinvent the wheel. And you know, others on this panel have given some great examples, but you know, hackathon competitions, resources online. You know, you don't need to reinvent everything yourself. You can take part in international processes or national processes, which you very well may already do, but you can leverage to be part of. So those are 2 tips. You can let me know whether they're useful at all or not.
Yeah, no, they're very useful. I think listening, which relates a lot to the what exactly in the ecosystem, the need and the structure and so on, and the learning from others and not reinventing is wonderful. Who would like to respond more to this? Adriana, maybe, or?
Yeah, because it's, I think it's very important as being what I'm observing, the young people interested in it. It's very interesting to have a kind of transparent resources or mapping of resources, I would say, because they ask us very often, okay, here I can get this, there I can get this. I don't know, here I can get about the successful stories so that I raise my motivation for entrepreneurship. Here I can get some, I don't know, online tools. Here I can get the network and successful mentors. So the transparent kind of mapping of resources, this is very valuable for them. Then somehow they are not lost. And this is actually that we are building around this Fab Lab, the story, that we are really trying to connect all these initiatives that I actually mentioned before, because this is really, we also try to integrate them, some of them to become the part of curricula, you know, not to be just the additional thing, but to become the way of educating, let's say. And we are moving step by step, okay? We still need to work on the system, but this is very important because it's really amazing when you give them, young people, a kind of open space, right? A lot of freedom to express yourself. It's the same what Angela said before about their personality. In the classroom, very often their talents, potentials, they are not recognized, or they are not, I don't know, maybe there is not enough time, whatever. But when they come there and we try them to support them with young mentors, this is also very important, but also with experienced one. If they are able to discover it, it's really amazing what it can come out. So the resources, I would say, it's very important.
Thank you, that's wonderful. We have 2 minutes before we move to the summary by Jose Manuel. Any last comments, questions, reflections? Anybody? Yes, Mohammed raising your hand.
Thank you, Karalambos. Good morning to all. And I would like to thank you for this really interesting webinar. I would like to comment on some features that was talked today. There is a lot of work done by the ministry in Tunisia to develop the entrepreneurial mindset. But we observe that we need some practical steps. That's why during the midterm, we'll work on 3 main fields. first, the status of trainee entrepreneur, which is a kind of soft status that allows trainee to get trained in non-formal education and to get recognized for that training. He will be dismissed from pursuing some modules of training as a trainee entrepreneur. Secondly, we will work on developing incubator business incubators in TVET centers. And finally, we will work on developing a new concept in Tunisia, which is companies in the TVET center, which will give a real opportunity for trainee to get a professional experience, to understand more what is a company and how it functions. Thank you. We will surely work on partnership with ETF and different events involved in this.
Thank you, Mohammed, for sharing your ideas. Thank you. I think we reached to the end of the second panel. So we had a lot of common things, the importance of education, curriculum, soft skills, the ecosystem, leadership, interdisciplinarity, learning from others, listening, focusing on the need. All these are very important themes. So thank you all for your contributions. And now I would like to invite Jose Manuel to give us the brief summary of the key findings from all webinars and bring everything together. Jose Manuel, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Garambalos. Thank you, colleagues. Feel privileged. You give me the responsibility to put all the pieces together. Also from the beginning of the times of our ETS Vocational Excellence Project and Network for Excellence, because indeed this in partnership on entrepreneurial role of Centers of Vocational Excellence is a part of the piece, and I would like also just to put all the pieces in the big picture. Yes, here from the beginning, and I think we started in June 2021, we are working in learning and co-creating together what are centers of entrepreneurial centers and how to run entrepreneurial COVIDs. In this picture emerge a lot of things that I will try to summarize to you. First of all, in the next slide, I want to put you in the context that we are a practitioner network, but BET Excellence Project, so Network for Excellence is the main outcome of Vocational Excellence Project that started at the ETF in our internal kitchen in 2018, but we make it formal in our first conference in 2020. So for us, it was clear from the beginning that the issue of, modestly identified that in excellence, which is a tricky concept, and also centers of vocational excellence that at that moment also working with the European Commission was a trickiest one. We need to learn and to be modest to recognize that only if we are networking together at the international level, we could, let's say, unveil and unraveling many dilemmas, and in particular also to learn that good practices has not boundaries, has not nationalities, has not flags. A good practice is a good practice despite the system could be improved and to work, but a good practice has not nationality. It's our international. So this was our intention, to bring you together here and sharing together knowledge and co-creation. You see that in this journey that we started also in the entrepreneurial COVES, the family grew. So we are having now even application from South Asia and Philippines, Sub-Saharan Africa countries. That is a topic that particularly I would like to announce that we have in the pipeline to put them together, and also for your best understanding on several contexts that we identify are not easy also to interconnect for the time being. Next slide, please. So overall, in all the initiatives, we tried. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Next
Ah,
slide.
okay. Next slide, please. Yes. So overall, we are running a concept that it is presented in our first flagship publication, on which indeed excellence, we treat it and we don't provide, let's say, a strict definition. We are more flexible on that, because what we learned indeed, trying to analyze at international level what Center of Vocational Excellence are, indeed we are witnessing in all the partnership of ENE that they are engines for better development. They are good examples of institutional leadership with high quality standard on the bed providers, at bed institution with high commitment and change and continuous development improvement. And I thank you so much in this partnership, because in particular this bullet is totally fulfilled, because your commitment is amazing, and I am particularly proud of this partnership. You are good examples, and also between public and private cooperation shaping ecosystem, which is a very important topic and concept today. And we also look at the inclusive way of that excellence can be transmitted. Next slide, please. On this, we have currently running this flagship partnership. The first one, autonomy and PPPs, we jumped in 2020 in a first phase on which we did a baseline study, and we are now currently an ongoing phase 2 on which we are targeting working processes that also are going to inform, let's say, practice from the political side of the coin on how COVEs are operating in countries. Autonomy is one of the key issues with pedagogy and professional development and business cooperation, which is shaping the triangle. And today, also on my reflection, is important that these three components are correlating the whole picture of the other partnerships. Partnership also that we have in greening responses in excellence through thematic actions in Greta, NEDG, digitalization of teaching and learning. During this year, we are going to start to integrate systematically the role of career guidance in the other sub-initiatives, and you will hear more about that, because we will start in next months to run some sessions, working session on that. And of course, today also we witness the important role of the world-based learning in vocational excellence, and we are also running an initiative in sharing innovation and social inclusion. In entrepreneurial COVEs, indeed, what we did during also this partnership and these webinars that we are enjoying very much is also using the our self-assessment tool for informing all these partnerships, but also in the every partnership that you can see in this slide, we are producing other methodologies and tools that are inspired also to self-assess what to learn, where COVEs want to go further, etc. And it is important to remind the role of the reflection tool in this entrepreneurial COVEs partnership. Next slide, please. We started this beautiful journey along continuum of growth, exploration, and development, very much looking at the entrepreneurship competence framework of the European Commission. And indeed, in ENE, we use it also to inspire sharing good practices in this partnership. Entrepreneurship is when you act upon opportunities and ideas and transform them into value for others. The value that it is created can be financial, cultural, or social. Next slide, please. We also went a little bit beyond, not only on the entrepreneurial competence, but we reflect at the beginning with the CARDET team and colleagues, and also we are, let's say now, informed by you that also the entrepreneurial COVEs dimension has also a thematic scope, and of course, thanks to our partners, we frame it in a geographical scope. Let's say the entrepreneurial COVEs institutions are also, is important that also we look at governance and institutional aspects, lifelong learners and their career development, teachers and COVEs staff, and the role of on leadership and sustainability. We start up with the Tunisian experience that we are very much thankful to them, because they help us on kicking a start the whole thinking in cooperation with Georgia, Moldova, Morocco, Tunisia, and Azerbaijan. Next slide, please. In this journey we started from 2021, we also come up with framing and feature what is an entrepreneurial COVEs, and we produce a conceptual framework that I have the pleasure to copy and paste from my colleagues what we did. And then also we identify several characteristics that could be distinctive to this entrepreneurial coves, which are innovative, connected, and action-oriented. I think we witnessed today these three characteristics, distinctive, very marked, but those also essential that are, let's say, also learning organization, digital and green, and learner-centered. Centered meaning that coves are deploying leadership for entrepreneurial approaches, and this is, I leave here for your reflection and on the future of the project of ENE and our cooperation with the European Commission on if it would be, let's say, meaningful awarding excellence as to be an entrepreneurial centers. Next slide, please. What we learned from 20 March in these 4 webinars, we started 20 March, thanks to the, let's say, the reflection tool. Our main coves on Moldova, PICEF, ESID in Morocco, Bizerte in Tunis, LEPL Modus in Georgia, and Koikai in Azerbaijan, also recently incorporated, plus our interactions with you and in other partnerships, etc. With this reflection tool, it helped us to organize 4 webinars, 20 March in international cooperation. This is an extremely important issue for the whole network, because the ENE network is a tool for internationalization. In this seminar, the coves identified that this is a must, and it is better shaped with the strategies that also can, integrate what staff should be learning, what alliance to build, how to incorporate, and how to overcome gaps, how to, let's say, generate income, etc. The coves also made us learning in this topic, in this session, that they have project-oriented approaches and also collaboration program. But my question is it there a country vision for many countries on internationalization, as, for example, thinking on developing countries versus developed countries? This is a major question also to engage our policymakers in this discussion. There is a need also in internationalization to strengthening coves autonomy, and this is much related on what I presented before on the interconnection or correlations between the different thematic approaches in ENE. Erasmus Plus is doing a great job, and this is now an important window for all the partnership, all the ENE. Erasmus Plus is now a big incentive for our centers of vocational excellence. We have also learned in this seminar that we have to use tools, as we learned today also, like, for example, the Entrecom community, and continue inviting you to be with us in ENE. In the second webinar that we organized 5th April, indeed, coves are hubs and beacons for digitalization. So they are expected to have a leadership role in the systems. We learned also that digital entrepreneurial coves setups has a strong correlation. We also learned that there are tools that are developing coves like digital platforms for teaching and learning. And also we learned that it is better to capture the holistic vision on digitalization and entrepreneurship through strategies. And this is a necessary good practice to mobilize also. We learned also that digitalization in entrepreneurial environments is affecting or correlated with other areas of excellence as social inclusion and equity. In the third seminar that we ran 20th April on sustainable goals and women entrepreneurship, we learned also that for sustainable goals and women entrepreneurship, sectorial approach could be an important incentive or entry point, in particular for targeting niches for gender approaches and coves actions. We also learned that there are several tailored tools and schemes, also funding combined to guidance for supporting gender approach to excellence, and also in coves, combined also with the sensibilization and awareness on the whole, staff and students. So I'm moving from strategies, plans to programs, modules, specific sessions, that are going as the value for learning on how important is the role of and the role to take into account gender for entrepreneurship approaches. But also we identified, and as we are identified in other partnership in ENE, that we need to move from practice to policy making. And indeed, this is one of our next challenges for the months to come, on how to integrate your experiences and practice and engage policy making side of the coin. Today we learned a lot of things. I anticipate with you these few bullets, but I would like really to remind how we learned, how important it is to produce from your experience integral plans on which also, programs and projects are stimulating, the particular ecosystems. And I would like also now to stop in this, because ecosystems, we are in all the partnership in any learning about ecosystem, but indeed today also we learned that ecosystem has similar templates, but in all the partnership thematic one, and in particular in this one, this is a distinctive feature, including partnership model, composition, interactions, etc. So we also learned that business startups could be a policy option in the countries. For example, we learned from Tunisia that it could be a need for the, let's say, composition of the employment in the country, but also it could be from Norway, a kind of from the cradle to the thumb. It could be a matter of not producing more entrepreneurs, but also this competence integrated in needs for management of human capital development in the country. I think also we learned a lot on international approaches, on how it's important the mindsets, and also how important are also to plan step-by-step approaches. So indeed, we learned today a variety of practices. And I have to say again that I am very proud of this partnership and on this particular session, because I think this is the session on which we brought more examples into the screen. And indeed, this variety and these practices can happen also integrating national, provider, and international levels. So innovation is at heart of the COVES startups programs, and pre-incubation experiences are necessary also a step on which COVES need deploying cooperation capacities in this particular or distinctive ecosystem. Financial mechanisms and private sector are so key as in other partnership, but also in this one, because startups cost a lot of money. Next slide, please. So what we will do, and just to wrap up the program that we started in 2021, with this journey for co-creating an operational concept. I think I am particularly also proud, repeat again, that we are producing in this partnership a particular concept that we want to put in hands of the international community, because at the beginning it was not fully clear also, and we wanted to provide transparency in the particular features of institutional approaches to entrepreneurship in Center of Vocational Excellence. So we identified together what we need to learn with our great icebreakers and partners. Thank you so much to Tunisia, Georgia, Moldova, and Morocco and Azerbaijan recently, supported by our NA intelligence and this reflection tool that also made us targeting from 2022 also jumping into learning sharing practices, online sessions in those 4 areas that I already presented. So what will be next? In 2022, from June to December, we will jump into further in-depth work on 2 themes that will be decided by our partners, supported by coaching sessions. In 2023, with all these in hands, we want to make, let's say, a second Agora quality assurance revision of our operational concept. More important also is that this partnership, it is going to be key for us, for the other partnerships I presented, and also to our way forward with the BET Excellence project in the European Training Foundation, which is also, let's say, merging or combining or balancing and extracting the knowledge we are having in NA with the new service level agreement that we signed with the European Commission at the last part of the last year, which is building a strong international cooperation dimension on vocational excellence. And only my next slide, which is the final one, thank you very much for your time, is just to continue invited to excel together and remind that we are in an international network, and in particular also NA, what we really would like and ambitions is just to become a vital knowledge tool for managing complexity, boosting cooperation, improving our individual and collective capacities, co-creating and transferring new knowledge, for motivating ourselves and giving our best to the others, and perhaps, hopefully, to build together systemic change. This is all from my side. I thank you very much. I learned a lot with you, and I am learning a lot with you, and we hope to continue learning together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a very good summary. We captured a lot. And in today's sessions, but also for webinars, there is a lot to learn and continue this collaboration. Thank you all the panelists for the contributions. I would like to give the floor to Maria Vittoria for the closing remarks.
It's okay. Everything has been said. So thank you, everyone. For those of you who would like to continue exchanging with us, cooperating with us, you can contact me as an entry point, and then this beautiful team of 5 training center will continue working together. See you soon. Have a nice day. Keep
Thank
safe.
you all. Thank you. It was great.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye bye. Hasta pronto.
All the best to you. all
Muchas
of you.
gracias.
Gracias.
Thank you. Bye.
Marinos, you are staying. Un minuto.
Can we save the chat, Marinos?
Yes, this will be saved automatically.